Hi, guys. Welcome to Own Your Essence, the podcast where healing meets empowerment. I'm your host, April DeMille, a psychic medium and a life coach specializing in grief, trauma, and toxic relationship recovery. This is a space for deep conversations, powerful transformations, and raw healing. Each week, we'll dive into soul centered topics like psychic mediumship, the supernatural, metaphysical wisdom, emotional grief, addiction, mental health, spiritual wellness, and self discovery. Through inspiring interviews and personal insights, this podcast is here to spread awareness, spark connection, and support your healing journey. If you're ready to set boundaries, reclaim your confidence, and step into your true power, you're in the right place. Let's own your essence together. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of our favorite people. I am your host, April DeMille, and today we are going to be speaking to Brandon Marshall. He is a magazine photographer and the author of his second book, My Life as Soul Food. So Brandon has a really great story to share, and I want to get into that. Okay. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, let me grab this. Yes.
There we
How's
go.
it? There.
Okay, so I just read your introduction. So I wanted to tell you again, thank you for being here. But before we kind of dive into your story, can you tell me a little bit about like how you're doing right now in this moment, like where you're at?
Yes. So in this moment where I'm at, I am very well. I mean, I just turned 40. So for me, it's a really big highlight, and I can note it. It's tangible for me, this one, because in my 30s, when I was 29 going into 30, I was very depressed, very anxious, very upset. I didn't have a GED. I didn't have a career. I didn't even have a direction or an idea of who I was. And now I'm 40. I've written my third book. No, I wrote 6 books, but I'm now publishing my third book. And I've also got my GED now. I went to school. I have went to 2 semesters. So right now I'm in a very good place. I'm in the direction of going up, going forward, and being able to talk to a lot of different people. So right now I'm blessed um, by being grounded and doing very well, very well.
Yeah. And so what's that say also about your sobriety? Like where are you at in that journey as well?
So I do smoke marijuana. I do
Okay.
mushrooms about 4 times a year. I usually do it on my 90-day cycle. I go out into the forest and I kind of have my spiritual journey and reconnect myself and ground,
Okay.
get all the work frustrations out of me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in terms of my sobriety and alcohol, I've quit drinking 3 times.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. This is the one time I've actually said I'm never going to drink again. The other two
Okay.
times where I'm going to quit, I'm going to quit until I get to the point where I feel like I can have a beer, where I can be social. That was my idea the first time I quit, and it was 5.5 years.
Okay.
And then I drank a little bit and I got drunk and I said, oh, that's it. I told myself if I have more than a beer, I'm going to quit. So I went 22 months. And then I was having a beer like on the weekend with a dinner, something like that. It was very, very, wasn't something that it wasn't after work drinking. It was on a weekend, either a Saturday or Sunday evening.
Okay.
And so I did that. But then this last December, it was December 11th. I decided there was a couple things that happened. And I was like, you know what? I don't know why, but I'm going to quit drinking and for good. Like, I'm never going to pick it up. And when I said it that time, I realized and acknowledged in that moment, I never said that the other 2 times. And
Yeah.
why I said it this time, I'm not sure. But I believe now, after having the few months to kind of look back at it and now see where I'm at with the idea of it, I'm going into bigger things. I'm talking to bigger people, bigger ideas are happening. The things that I'm imagining and working towards are unfolding. And I feel like I cannot ever allow myself to be the littlest person I was, which was when I was an alcoholic.
Right.
I can't allow the stress. I can't allow the pressures of the environment.
Right.
So in terms of my sobriety, I am for the first time now sober
Yeah.
in terms of alcohol and my poison.
So would you say, is it safe to say that like maybe you said it this time that it was done and over with because you finally believed that it was actually done and over with? You had the confidence in that decision, even if you didn't understand it.
Well, I definitely have the confidence, and every time, because I mean, I drank from the time I was 11 years old till I was 30, almost 30 years old, and
Yeah.
so it wasn't so much the confidence, it was the understanding that I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it never registered in my head that you just cannot have a beer.
Yeah.
Like you just
Which
cannot have a
which
beer
is
anymore. Like
actually
it's
what happens with most alcoholics, which is why they stay alcoholics. Like it's
right.
it's it's an allergy for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, so with me, I'm very unorthodox. Even with my books, with my sobriety, I have had, counseling. I've seen 4 different counselors. One was for alcohol. One was for depression. The other two one was for domestic violence, and one was just for anger management. So I have had many different counselings, but outside of those, I'm very unorthodox. And I like to kind of observe myself. I kind of like to sit and study myself naturally without the ideas of other people. And I have the
Mhm.
strength to kind of do that. And that's really what I'm doing and hearing. And what you said is exactly what I heard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So speaking of drinking since you were 11, let's kind
Yes.
of unpack a little bit of that. Can you go back in history a little bit with me and talk about maybe, you grew up with domestic abuse and in that kind of environment and clearly with addiction. What happened for you to pick up that first drink when you were 11? Are you in a place where you can talk about that?
Yes, and I do. So my memory is horrible. My short-term memory is horrible, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot to drinking. But I was also abused as a kid. But
Right.
these little things I remember, and it's crazy. It's the traumatic things. It's not the positive things in my life that what I mean. Now the
Yeah.
new memories, yes, but going back, but I do remember. I was 11 years old. I was in the kitchen, and I remember I was hungry, and I don't know why I had the idea. I think because my dad used to get me drunk as a kid when I was 5, 6, 7 years. He used to think it was funny. So
So then
maybe
your first
subconsciously,
drink wasn't when you were 11.
uh, not my first drink by my idea. Like when
Okay.
I went and grabbed a beer, I was 11. When I
Okay.
drank, I was younger than 11.
Okay. Okay. So that helps me understand that too. Okay. All right. So go ahead and go
So
back to, yeah.
so at 11 years old, I was experiencing a lot of abuse from my stepmother. She was malnourishing me. She was not feeding me. She would do a lot of things to have my dad abuse me. So she was just very, very like that. And I realized drinking took the hunger away. And that was the first time at 11 years old when I started drinking consciously, realizing why.
Right. Because you were literally trying to nurture something that you weren't getting.
Correct. And then
Yeah.
also with by doing that, it also made me realize it gave me courage. My dad's 6 foot, 240 pounds, very big man. My mom is she's smaller, she's not big like that, but she's very powerful in spirit, and she's very so I had 2 parents that I had to deal with in that sense.
Yeah.
And the alcohol gave me the courage to stand up to them. And at that point I realized they couldn't do what they were doing to me inside anymore when I drank.
Right. Because you were numbing it.
I was numbing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And so with growing up with the abusive environment, how would you say that shapes the way you saw like love and maybe even received love and safety? Your conditioning around that.
I mean, that plays a role even to who I am today in a huge way.
Right,
I have a very hard time receiving
right.
love. That's something I'm right now in the point of learning. I mean, I'm over the threshold of the beginning stages. I
Yeah,
mean, it's easier for me, but now I also understand what love is, and I understand that I can't just have anybody around me now.
yeah,
As I'm growing in this phase that I'm in, I'm a child in essence. Right now I'm a
right.
child. I'm doing a lot of things for the first time in my life, and with that being said, I have to be very careful receiving love. But yes, as a child, definitely, I did not. I was very angry, as you would imagine. I was very angry, very violent. I fought often. I went to juvenile hall. I mean, it just led me through a lot of bad situations in that sense.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
was not my. I didn't believe love. I didn't even have an idea of love, honestly.
Yeah, because it's so skewed when we grow up in such a uh it's such a terrible environment, like the love is under layers and layers of other bullshit. When
For
you,
love,
oh, go ahead.
for me. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
I think at that point, love for me was just loyalty. It was just whatever happens, just be loyal. And that is love, I believe, is my understanding at that point up until maybe last 5 years.
Yeah. So your idea of love meant you were just still around, which doesn't, that's like not even a bare minimum, right? Because like your idea was, well, I had a mom
Right.
or a dad and they were always there in some capacity, maybe physically, but not in any other shape or form.
Correct.
So that
Correct.
was the only
Correct.
understanding you had. Yeah. Yeah, and
Correct.
I can totally relate to that childhood. I had one that's very similar. Um, so another question I wanted to ask was, you talked about being in correction facilities a minute ago, and that I think you were in and out doing that a few times. So was there ever a moment during incarceration when something really shifted in you internally, like you just kind of had an aha moment, and maybe you were like, I can't keep coming back to jail. This isn't the kind of life I want to do. Was there ever that kind of moment?
Yes, the last time I was in prison two different times, once in California and the second time in Arizona. And when I went to prison in Arizona, I was married. I was in love. Truly, I was truly at the first time trying to figure out, how do I become a better person? Like, how do I fix this stuff? You know what I mean? Because at the time, me and my wife, she was very similar. She grew up abused. She grew up in foster homes. So we were both two individuals that were very hurt, very broken, but very in love with each other and trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So when that happened to me, when I went to prison for a gun at the time, it destroyed my life. It destroyed everything that I was working towards with this person. And I really, that time, just was like, I cannot lose I already said I cannot lose the next person. I knew I lost her already. I knew the separation, the way everything was, the way we were.
Yeah.
I just knew it was not real. You know what I mean? In the sense that we wanted it to have a better outcome. So that shifted me to become a better person for the first time, for my future self, for my future wife, for my future friends, for my future goals. And that was the start. That was the catalyst. I didn't get it for probably about 16 or 18 months getting towards the end of my incarceration, and then it started clicking really.
Yeah. Would you say that the universe played kind of like helped you in a big way by putting you in jail and breaking that trauma bond between you and her so that way you could start to reorganize the way you were going to show up for your future self?
Man, let me just tell you this: me and the universe is strong, and I'm hard headed. My entire life, my entire life, the universe, I'm very guided. Like, I'm there. If any, very few people could put my shoes on and push play from the time I was born till right now, 40 years of this.
Yeah.
Very few people could push play and come out on the other side, not just physically be alive still, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and all the essence of what we are, and then be stronger. So the universe has always, without a doubt, been on my side. I am just now understanding it in a way
Right.
that maybe you kind of are educating people. That's why I'm observing. That's why I'm doing this myself. I've taken psychology. I've done a lot of things,
Right.
and I combine them all together because they are all talking about the same subjects, except it's maybe done through quantum physics, or maybe it's done
Right.
through a spiritual guide.
It's
It's all the
literally
same things.
it's all the same. It's just different strokes for different folks. That's it.
Yes, and I kind of have woven all this stuff in by being alone, by being in my quiet space. I've been now celibate for 2 years. I've been single since October of 22. I've
Hmm.
truly have taken this seriously of who I am and what I'm doing. And the universe is very strong, and the universe is everything you can imagine,
Yeah.
but everything that you desire, it will give you. And that means negativity as well. So yes,
Well,
the
because it's
universe
all
gave me
about
what I
love.
needed.
Yeah, it's all about love, right? So, and love is there to shift you, even if it's through pain. That's how that works. So, unfortunately, we
Absolutely.
all are hard-headed and in this human existence, and we have to learn the hard way sometimes. So,
And I
um,
think love, I don't, the one thing about my ancestors, the Mayans, they were very big on duality. They said anything
mhm.
that exists will have an opposite existence.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I do believe the hate and everything that I experienced was to put me in the position of writing my books. I'm a very talented writer.
Right.
And now the understanding I have with these things, I can put it in a way that inspires people. And it's like, it's just all clicking now.
Yeah, yeah. And actually you talk about the duality, but all of that's on the same spectrum.
Yeah.
So,
So that's, thank you. Thank you. That was the anchor for
yeah,
the hate.
yeah.
So the hate in me is what gave me the love. If I didn't have as much as I did, I wouldn't have as much love as I have right now and
Right.
giving out to everybody that I'm doing it for.
Yeah, yeah. So you also talked a little bit just now about your celibacy experience. Are you willing to share more about that? Because that is something that I also went through, and I did 6 years. Best thing I ever fucking did in my life. Best thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
So for a man, I don't know how it is for a woman. For me, the first, I would say, 8 months, 12 months was very, 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 very rough.
mhm.
Just the needs, just the urge alone.
Yeah.
So that part was hard. Once, but that's just the moments. And once before that, after that, it is gratifying. It is very gratifying, being in a place of your own self, just not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people don't really. I didn't get it until now. I haven't done it where I'm not exchanging energies like that. I'm not
Yeah.
absorbing that that I'm not giving that part of me away.
Yeah.
And I'm also healing because I use sex as a form of abuse as well. You know what I mean? It wasn't when I had sex at a younger age. I wasn't making love. I
Right.
wasn't bonding with somebody. I was. It
It was
was.
coping still.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, now I'm at the stage where I feel powerful. I feel like
Yeah.
I can be around a woman and a woman can appreciate me as a person, appreciate my energy and feel my masculinity without being overwhelmed,
Yeah.
or having me,
Or being chased or being, yeah, like,
anything. Yes. And,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
have so much power in so many different environments now. And so with that, I do feel, I feel good. I
yeah,
haven't put a lot of thought into it. I'll be honest. That was the first time I thought like, how do I feel about this? But it's nothing but positive things.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can say that.
Yeah, I would say my journey started in October of 2017 is when I decided. And I had ultimately come to the decision that, uh, you know, every time I had a partner, a love in my life, I was always attracting unavailable men in some form or fashion. It didn't matter. They were all unavailable and also abusive in some form or fashion as well, and
When you
an
say
addict.
unavailable, you mean like love?
I mean, unavailable, like in all the ways. Like they were addicts, they were
Oh,
emotionally withdrawn. Like there was something that was not available, right? And so I started to really sit with that. And the one thing I had come to realize was what's the common denominator in all those stories? And it was me. I was the common denominator in all those stories. So I was like, what is broken in me that I keep having to repeat this story? So once had that awareness, I decided right then and there, okay, cool. I clearly don't have a good relationship with others, which means I don't have a good relationship with even myself. So, what can I do to strip everything down to the basics, the bare minimums, and really get back to who the fuck I am? I don't even know what that meant. So that's when I had my moment to go, okay, I'm going to make a solid vow of 1 year of celibacy. In my mind, I was like, 1 year is a fucking big deal, right? And no, when I said celibacy, it didn't just mean like not sleeping with others. It meant not touching myself either. I was like doing the full on like nun thing.
I am
And
not that strong, but I'm not often.
right, which is still absolutely, a big change, right? When you're still used to being able to gratify in some way, right? So I made the decision to cut myself off from myself too, because if I wasn't healthy and to make good decisions, then I was still unhealthy even with myself. So I started with a year. By the end of that year, I was like, fuck, this was easy. And I had loved the person I had become or was becoming. So it went year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and I was so fucking empowered. But here's where it started to shift for me. By year 5, I started noticing a massive change in my empowerment that I had received. I had received all this empowerment, which now I felt resentful for, which was
Mm.
foreign to me. I was like, why is there resentment here all of a sudden? This was my decision. And
Huh.
then, and then on top of the resentment, that was just one of the clues. On top of the resentment, my my uterus had prolapsed and my female organs were starting to suffer and I was broke. I couldn't make money. Like I was all of these things were being blocked all at the same time. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, there's another thing happening here. And what I had determined, what I had realized, and why I finally shifted out of the celibacy a year from that was because I had stayed in the celibacy too long. I had already gained what I needed from that lesson.
Ah,
And if
okay.
you don't, and then I was too afraid to practice what I preach in the real world in real time. So I stayed stuck in it and my body was failing. My bank was failing. All the signs were coming to be like, girl, you got to move. And I was like
Wow.
so scared because I was like, I don't know how to do this in the new world. Like, I don't know how to,
Wow.
oh God, I was scared that if I dated and I did the things, I would just go fall back into the version I was before, which is not true. It was a story I was telling myself, but it wasn't real, right? So I stayed stuck. I stayed stuck, and then I felt resentment because I was abandoning my truth by staying in fear and stuck. So that's actually what it took to shift me out of it and start
Wow.
practicing in real life. So I had a
Wow.
lesson even in the ending of that.
That's incredible. I would never have thought that. Yeah, that's it. I guess even water can be too much. You can even have too much of water.
For fucking real.
Right. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that's where it had become counterintuitive, counterproductive. It was just not, it was I'd stayed there too long. So I wasn't welcome anymore.
Gotcha.
I
That
was
makes
like,
sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
I wasn't welcome anymore. So I got booted out. Yeah. Okay, so shifting real quick. Um, what would you say real rock bottom looked like for you?
Hey everyone, Stephanie here. For those of you seeking intuitive insight, April provides private psychic medium readings. These sessions are designed to bring clarity and direction across areas like money, career, relationships, family dynamics, spiritual evolution, and emotional well being. If you're ready for deeper, more personalized support, April offers private one on one coaching for those navigating grief, trauma, and the complexities of toxic relationship recovery. You can schedule a discovery call using the links below to ensure it's a comfortable fit. You'll find all booking links in the show notes. As always, thanks for tuning in.
At the worst points of my life, real rock bottom for me was sleeping on couches, sleeping in hotels. Um, that was early in stages, but I've had even later stages in life where people had put me in situations. For instance, I was living with my dad, paying half of the rent, and because he was an alcoholic, I wasn't drinking when I lived with him. I couldn't, but he's an alcoholic, and he got violent, and I literally was put on the street. So I've that wasn't rock bottom to me in the sense that I did something wrong. Rock bottom to me means more like I'm doing something that I'm putting myself in that situation.
Yeah.
Um, so I've had several rock bottoms that looked different and felt
Yeah.
different. I was in different places.
Well, and some of those rock bottoms have a fucking basement, which is like, how could you even get any lower than rock bottom? But it's real.
Right. Right. Well, that's the thing about healing is you do have to get below rock bottom, right? You have to actually get into yourself. So
Yeah.
rock bottom is good because rock bottom allowed me to go further of why I was in that point.
Yeah. Rock bottom actually just means you get to start a brand new foundation from the ground up. So
Yeah.
it is good, but it doesn't fucking
Yeah.
feel good. It doesn't feel good. It sucks
No,
so
and it's
bad.
also not supposed to be the same kind of rock bottom, right? You're never supposed to have the same type of rock bottom because then you're kind of repeating the same things probably.
Yeah, so it's like different level, different devil for sure. Which is
Yes.
how we grow, slow and steady wins the race. Um, yeah. I actually, you talked about like staying with your alcoholic dad. So it's funny because I had years of homelessness where even to where I was living in my car and all the things. And I mean, it was off and on for probably 8 years. It was a very long time. And this was after I lost my daughter. So it was lots of rock bottoms, all, accumulative. And I remember when, like, I had family and they are also drug users, drug doers, drug dealers, all those things. Um, and um, I was sober. So I'd been sober since 2012. So staying with some of those people wasn't an option for me because that was like life or death to me. Like if I go put myself in that environment, here's what I foresee happening. So many times I had to choose homelessness over something like that. Or there was also another time I had someone that was a somewhat family member, kind of like an extension of a family member. And that man was just exploiting the situation. He was like, you can come stay here, but I will expect these sexual favors and things in return. And again, I chose homelessness over that. I was like, no, no, I'm not gonna let people control my life like that anymore. That's not how I'm gonna live this life. So it did end up that I spent many years homeless and bouncing from couch to couch and place to place, staying in cars, going from state to state. And that was exhausting, but it was almost like what I had to do. It was the healthier alternative than the choices I felt like I was
Right.
being given. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it kind of,
Absolutely. I can 100% relate to that. I've been in the same situations. I actually, my wife, she passed away in 2024, but my wife and me, we went camping for 6 straight months. Like I was at a very depressed stage in my life, and she was like, you know what, we're gonna get rid of everything in the apartment, and we're gonna go camp. We're gonna get a Sprinter van and go camping.
yeah.
And when I did that for 6 straight months, it changed my life. Like that's now all I want to do. I just want to be homeless all over the United States
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like literally, she ruined me because I was a city boy, and
Yeah.
ever since it's like I every chance I get, I'll be next to a tree. I'm just like it's for me.
Well, there's
That's what
freedom
peace
in it.
is.
Yeah, there's
Right,
freedom in just being able to go wherever.
right,
And if you decide you want to be at the beach one day as opposed to the mountains the next, like you get to
right,
do that.
right.
Yeah. And there's got to be something cathartic about that too.
It was. I'm working towards that now. Now you have a job, and things change when it comes to the anchor in that world. But
Yeah.
working towards that is definitely my goal. I'm definitely working towards getting to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a great goal. I love that. So you have your
Yeah.
book close to you, right? Can you hold it up for us?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
talk about this book a little bit. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So,
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead, please.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your book. Like what inspired this book and what's it about?
So this book is us reads my life as soul food. So what it's about is my life. I've put some of the most impactful moments, whether it be traumatically or positive
Okay.
moments in here. These are real life stories. So that's the cool thing about this book as opposed to the other two books. These talk specifically about experiences. What could have been with my wife, it could have been with a friend, it could have been with just myself getting through a point of growing or a point of not wanting because of my anxiety, my depression, my PTSD, as before I got to this stage, was
Yeah.
really bad, like everybody else's before you work on it. So there were times where I couldn't leave the house. I'm going on a photo. I'm a magazine photographer. I got models waiting for me, and I can't even open my front door to walk out of it. So
Yeah.
I have stories like that and what it took and the energy and the things I would tell myself and how to get to the point of opening the door and getting to the photo shoot and having the most greatest time and photo shoot of the day, of
Yeah.
the week. And it's about that. It's just about how I number one, became aware of the things that were normal, you know, the abuse, the violence. I went to juvenile hall and jail and prison because it was normal that was a normal behavior. That
Yeah,
was
right.
Those are places are there because people like us in society, everybody has some people go to an office, some people, and for me, that's where we went, and that was normal to me.
Yeah, that was what was normalized for you.
That was my culture. That was my, that's what I believe conditioned to be okay. And this book kind of shows you at what point I became aware of this is not okay. What point I became aware of there is more, and then expanding on more, and how to kind of ground yourself and get through the turbulence. And what I really love about the things that I'm doing, and you want to talk about the universe, this is all universe.
Good.
So I do not, the universe also sparked this. I was in school, I was in CSN, which is the College of Southern Nevada. And it said, I just heard, boom, my life as soul food. And as soon as I heard that, I immediately, me and the universe are connected. I immediately knew that was my next book. So as soon as I heard that, I started writing specifically stories about my life. And I realized how I would be able to do it in the sense of how I was supposed to write them. But I never wrote any stories. That's the cool thing about my writing. I never am like, let me think about this and I'm going to write this. It's nothing that you read of my work on anything I ever do is something that I actually put thought into and sat down and was like, let me do this. Mm-hmm. It's something that triggers, it's an emotional thing, and it's like an entanglement at some time in space. And then I grab a paper and a pen and I write in that moment. So there's a moment that happens in me. I could be driving, I could be talking to somebody, something happens, and then I write that down. Yeah. So these books are something that came at a higher level in a time that I realized a lot of deep things. I've crossed a threshold. I was experiencing what do you call that? A personality disorder or a personality midlife crisis kind of thing.
Well, and you could have been experiencing even different personality trajectories like happening and crossing.
Correct. Because I was this person, only this person, and then I realized I'm so many different things.
Right. Yeah.
And I realized, but I'm not even starting now with my imagination. I'm realizing, wow, there's a whole, not even the earth, there's a whole universe outside of earth.
Yeah.
And so when I was just this person and I'm realizing I'm like at this point now over here, I'm looking back and I'm like, well, who the am I?
Yeah.
Like, who the am I now? And that was to me where this book really resonated. I realized at that point, I was like, boom, this is who I am. And then I wrote the book, and it kind of helps you get over that threshold of where I was.
Yeah, and each piece is such a huge catalyst in making up you as a whole.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
So, you talked about the magazine photography. Is there anything else that you want to share about that?
Yes.
Like how you got into that?
So that was the very first step for me when I got out of prison. I realized I needed to anchor, I needed to focus, I needed to really have something that I can not look back or run away from. Yeah. While I'm changing my life, while I'm figuring out, because that was the very first point. That was like the third year where I'm just trying to understand, what do I do to become a better person? You know, like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And so the photography really gave me a point on an identity. That's what I was really having to struggle with at first.
So it was something that was more structured to just kind of help you ground.
And help me ground and become something. Like, people ask, oh, what do you do? Or who? I'm a magazine photographer. It gave me something besides somebody in prison, besides somebody where I'm from, you know, besides the things that I was before that. So it gave me something more to add to my identity for everybody else. And then it kind of made me, you know, fill up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. That makes total sense. Yeah. So, okay. I have a couple fun little questions for you.
Yes.
Okay. If your book had a smell, what is it?
The ocean.
Oh, okay. You're an ocean boy.
I'm a forest guy, but when this was wrote, it was ocean. It was definitely, I was on the beach. I was on the beaches. I was,
salty air, all the things. Okay.
All that.
That's actually a great answer.
Yes.
Okay. Your journey in 3 words.
Face plant,
I'm sorry. You can't even
Bounce,
finish.
face plant, bounce up or bounce back and forward. That's my journey. Falling, getting up and going forward. Like there's nothing else.
Oh,
And my goals are big, and believe me, I trip and stumble often, but I've done it so often that
yeah.
now it's easy for me to get up and keep going.
You know what's so fucking great about what you just said though? Face plant, bounce back and forward. I want to tell you why I love this so much because for one, it is such a you answer and I like that because most people in the spiritual community are going to be like, "Oh, it's going to be grounded and peaceful and butterflies and whatever." And I'm like, "No, this was very like raw face plant, bounce
Right.
back, forward. Like there's no fucking glitter here."
No, zero
Yeah.
glit. What's crazy is people, and this is what I love. I love it, but at the same time, it kind of bothers me. It's been bothering me more, I guess, less lately. Used to bother me really bad, but now it's bothering me less and less. But they would be like, they look at me and they just see this. I don't know how to say. The only way I can express it is like this pretty boy. Because this is today. I'm not dressed up for you. I apologize, but I'm always dressed
You're
up and
also
I look nice. But
traveling.
people, when they hear my story, right, and they hear my story, and then they like deny me my story or something. It's like, and that kind of. So yeah, when I say these things, I don't think people realize my journey. Even though I look pretty, like every day, like to get this book, this is a $4,000 book. You know what it takes to do all the things you got to do and then publish that? I mean, it takes a lot of
Not to
work
mention
to get to that.
the sweat, blood, and the tears that pour into those pages.
Not to mention that time, the hours, the
Yeah.
journey, not to mention the
This
universe in
the
complete silence.
and quite literally the scars that you
Quite
receive that
literally.
get, yeah, all of it. Yeah, for sure.
And so when people say these things or look at me in this way, they don't give me they don't give me the credit. I don't think they put the credit in what I'm actually doing. And yeah, for me, it I'm definitely because my goals are very big. Like I'm
Well, and
not
that's
I'm
what
running.
people, that's what, I mean, that's unfortunately, that's what people get for don't judge a book by
Right.
its cover. I can tell you that I've had
Well,
many
you could judge
stories.
this one by its cover.
Yeah. But I've also had many times in my life where people just looked at me and they saw maybe a stereotype or some sort of something that triggered an emotion in themselves or a piece of their own story that they didn't like or insecure about. And they would just categorize me in one way. And then when I spoke or opened my mouth and words of wisdom that came out, and they'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not as dumb as I look all the time, but
Right.
thanks."
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Okay, so one question that you wish people would ask you more, but don't.
How can I find more inspiration in my life personally?
Okay, okay. So you're like, "Hey, peoples, ask me. I'll help you. I'll point you in a direction."
So that is literally everything that I'm doing. My photography magazines have quotes in them. Like the reason I started my magazines essentially was to put my quotes in them.
Okay.
Literally to put my quotes in them. So my books are that they're just short inspirational stories. And yes, it was one line that changed my life. I was in prison. And this was kind of actually gave me that finally lifted me up. I was looking and looking, and this is what I found, the universe. And it said, if you were to die today, who would remember you and what would they remember about you?
Okay.
And that's literally what every page in this book and my next book is the whole thing is just to spark that one epiphany, that one curiosity, that one question in you. And once that happened, it's like, it's gasoline in a match. It's just, it goes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. And I wish just more people, especially in the state of affairs of everything right now we have kids, we have a lot of things that are just being overlooked. And if we could just have that, just a little bit of that, we could be so much further in a better place altogether in our environment, for the birds, for everything. I mean, everything could be in such a better place with
Yeah.
just a little bit more inspiration.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so I think this is going to be my last question for you. And I actually meant to ask it to you earlier, so I'm kind of backtracking.
Okay.
When you meet others, what do you want them to understand about who you've become? And I guess that's kind of going to be in the book anyway, but like if somebody was going to approach you and just kind of, hey, what's up? How's life been? How you doing? Like, what do you want them to understand about who you've become?
Who I've become. So I've become, very simply, that I can answer is a man of the world, a man of God, a man of what's supposed to exist naturally. I've really simplified my life. I own everything I own now. I've put it in one suitcase. Obviously, I have laptop things and things like that, but all my clothes, like I've simplified everything in my life. I used to have 7 watches for every day of the week. I used to have over 20 pairs of shoes. I don't have all those things anymore. You know what I mean? Now I have turquoise and jade, and I'm doing things so
Yeah.
much differently.
Yeah.
And it's like what I want people to know is all the things that I experienced in life, which were very heavy. They were like anchors, like rocks, just pulling my spirit down, my energy level down.
Yeah.
All of those things I've been able to shed by simply being in the environment more, by disconnecting from the TV. I haven't watched TV since 2013. I mean, I've seen a game, like the championship. I'll watch that or something, but that's
Yeah.
it. Like, I don't watch TV anymore. I
Yeah.
don't do those things. I'm not in the bars. I'm not in pool halls. So everything I do is very much grounded, and it's to get to the point of answering the questions that are holding us back that happened, whether it was from a traumatic relationship or from your mother, whatever. It may be something that we're doing wrong personally. Maybe we're the bad person, and that we kind of have to work that out and get over it.
Yeah.
So by doing those things, I've realized God is very real. Creation is very real. Everything is very intimate and intentional. Like, if these things drop seeds, they're going to only create that. They're not going to create an oak tree. They're not going to create squirrels.
Right.
Everything is designed specifically, and that includes us. And I
Yeah.
think awareness is the biggest thing to that. We are not our ego. Our ego is kind of gives us an identity to direct our goal and our message and things like that. But we're also the water in us. We're also the food in us. Without those things, we wouldn't exist here. There would be
Right.
no conversations if you stopped eating and drinking those things. So I think we need to become more aware of that as well, that we are the earth, quite literally. We are these elements.
Yeah.
They filter in through us, filter out of us, like happy, mad, sad, scared. We're also those things. Those things filter through us. We become that.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to be less egotistical. And from my life, so you look at me, and what I'm saying about me is I've become less egotistical, and by doing that, I've become able to become closer to God and truly correct the things that have weighed me down in life. And I've now written 6 books because of it as well. So
Yeah.
I suggest that to if you look at me, that's how I've done this, by simplifying my life as much as possible and disconnecting from the system as much as possible.
Yeah. And I like that story because when you talk about how important it is to be ego driven, because our ego
Yeah.
is the driving force that puts us in the seat to create all the things that we put out in the world. So it's very, very important. But finding the balance is just as equally important so we're not run over by it. And then also, like, all in all, your story means basically just remembering your truth, like getting down to the basics of
Yes.
what your true essence is, just remembering what that is, right?
Yes.
It's
It's
all
beautiful.
the
You said it beautifully. You summed it up beautifully.
it's all the unlearning we have to do.
Beautifully, and that's exactly the truth. But to unlearn everything, what I've learned personally is everything in life is re-engineered. Right? We're re-engineering everything.
Yeah.
Reverse engineering, I call it. Reverse engineering everything. Everything that's a problem, all you have to do is start from the problem, and then you just go step by step by step until you get to the problem. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's also the cool thing about what I've learned is everything that you have, start with all you have to do is become aware, say what the problem is, and then you can literally take it step by step back to where the problem is.
Yeah, you can quite literally, there is a root to everything. Yeah.
A root, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A root to everything. So I love that. Brandon, is there anything we didn't touch base on? Is there anything that you...
Oh, I'm sure there's many things, but no.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure we covered most of what you needed to get out of you and the message.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if that's all that
Yes.
you have, then I'm going to stop it here. I want to tell you thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you want to help me tell the audience goodbye, bye you guys. See you guys next time.
Thank you. It was an honor. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for joining Own Your Essence. I am beyond grateful to our guests for sharing their wisdom and to you, our listeners, for being part of this journey toward healing and empowerment. If today's conversation resonated with you, please feel free to subscribe, leave a review, and share this space with others who might need it. If you have questions, topic ideas, want to be a guest, or would like to work with me privately, send an email. I'd love to hear from you.